Now that we know how to find how many solutions there are, we now need to be able to figure out what the solutions are. So we know that the solutions are where the parabola crosses the x-axis. So however many times it crosses the x-axis tells us how many solutions there are, but now we need to know what are the solutions. We need to know the actual numbers that go with that. So the solutions are the points. Remember, points are always ordered pairs. So it's always going to be an x and a y, where the parabola crosses the x-axis. So let's look at this example. Here we have our parabola. It's going down because the number in front of the x squared is negative. That makes our vertex a maximum. These are all the things we already knew. Now we can say, okay, how many solutions are there? It crosses here and it crosses here. That means that there are two solutions. So these are all things we know how to do. We learned that when the x number in front of the squared was negative, it opened down. We learned that that meant that the vertex was at the top, making it a maximum, and now we know however many times it crosses the x-axis is how many solutions we have. Now we need to know what are the solutions. The solutions are the actual points where they cross the x-axis. So this first point over here is when x is -3. So the first ordered pair goes -3. And whenever you are on the x-axis, your y coordinate is 0. So -3, 0 is one solution. But we know by looking at the graph that there are two total. So we have to be able to find that second solution as well. And it is over here where it crosses the x-axis. In this case, it crosses at a +1, but again, the y coordinate is still 0. So, we know how to find how many solutions, and now you can look at the graph and find where it crosses to find exactly what those solutions are. In this case, the point -3, 0 and point 1, 0 are the two solutions. If you look at this graph, it opens up, which means A must have been positive. The vertex is at the bottom, making it a minimum. If you look how many solutions we have, the vertex itself is actually on the graph. So we just learned that that means there's only one solution, and you call that one solution a double root. That is all the stuff we already knew. One solution, double root. Now the question is, what is the solution? We know there's one, but what is it? It's the point where the graph crosses the x-axis. So this actual point, that ordered pair, is 0, 0. Since that is the vertex and it is on the axis, then that is the only answer you have because there was only one solution, and it was a double root. Here, this picture has lots of things labeled for us, but the things that we know, the vertex in this case is here at the bottom, making it a minimum, which meant that the number in front of the x squared must have been positive because my graph is opening up. And then I also know that there are two solutions because here it crosses the x-axis and here it crosses the x-axis. Those 2 points where I can see that the graph is on the x-axis tells me that I have two solutions, which is what we just learned. Now we know how to find what those solutions are. What are those actual ordered pairs? This first one over here, x is at -1 and y is always at 0. The second one over here, x is at 3 and y is at 0. So those are my two solutions. Those are the 2 points where the parabola crosses the x-axis. They are the roots, the x-intercepts, the zeros, the solutions. Those are all terms for the exact same thing. Where does the parabola cross the x-axis? If we look at this one, say, okay, I see my vertex. It's at the bottom, which is a minimum, because my parabola opened up, which meant A was positive. And then I say, how many solutions do I have? Well, my x-axis is down here. And I look and my parabola is not crossing my x-axis. So that tells me right away that I have no solutions, or zero roots, because it doesn't cross the x-axis. So if there's no solution, I can't give it to you because there's no point where that parabola is on the x-axis. So that's all you can say, no solution, because it doesn't cross the x-axis. What you're going to do now is you are going to go to your homework folder and you're going to open up 10-2B activity number 2. There is a worksheet there that is attached that is asking you to find what the solutions are. Okay, not how many this time, but what are they? So where does the parabola cross the x-axis? What are those ordered pairs? You need to complete that worksheet and turn it into 10-2B activity number 2. Once you've done that, then you can go to the last video, number 3, that will help you to complete your homework assignment.